The Indian pharmaceutical supply chain is a sprawling, intricate, and often invisible network that forms the very backbone of the nation's healthcare system. It is a system of immense scale and complexity, tasked with a mission of profound importance, delivering life-saving medicines from the point of manufacture to every corner of a vast and diverse country. Consider the journey of a single tablet. It begins its life in a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility, perhaps in a specialized industrial hub like Badi in Himachal Pradesh. From there, it must travel hundreds or even thousands of kilometers to reach a critically ill patient in a bustling metropolis like Madurai, or a child suffering from a fever in a remote, almost inaccessible village in the hills of Arunachal Pradesh. This journey is far more than a simple exercise in transportation. This network is not merely about trucks, warehouses, and delivery schedules. It is a logistical lifeline. Every decision made, every process optimized, and every challenge overcome within this chain directly impacts public health outcomes. The efficiency of this system determines whether a vaccine remains potent, whether a chronic patient receives their medication on time, or whether a hospital has the necessary supplies to handle an emergency. For a prospective leader in the pharmaceutical industry, understanding the nuances of this supply chain is not an optional extra. It is a fundamental requirement. It is a domain where operational excellence converges with social responsibility, creating a field of study that is both intellectually stimulating and deeply meaningful in its real-world application. The term supply chain can sometimes sound sterile and mechanical, evoking images of conveyor belts and spreadsheets. However, in the context of Indian pharmaceuticals, it represents a dynamic and living system pulsing with the urgency of human need. It is a testament to human ingenuity and resilience, a system that has been built, tested, and refined over decades. It connects disparate geographies, navigates complex regulations, and overcomes formidable infrastructural hurdles daily. This intricate dance of logistics ensures that hope, packaged in vials, blisters, and bottles, is delivered reliably. The silent heroes of this story are the managers, logistics partners, distributors, and chemists who work tirelessly behind the scenes to keep this vital river of medicine flowing without interruption. As we delve into the mechanics of this system, we will uncover a world of strategic partnerships, intense negotiations, and technological innovation. We will explore how power is wielded, how margins are negotiated, and how formidable challenges such as maintaining the integrity of the cold chain are met. The COVID-19 pandemic served as an unprecedented stress test, exposing both the vulnerabilities and the incredible strengths of this lifeline. The lessons learned from that crisis are now shaping a future where technology, from digital tracking to drone delivery, promises to make the supply chain more robust, transparent, and responsive than ever before. This is the story of the Indian pharmaceutical supply chain, a narrative of systems, strategy, and the unwavering commitment to saving lives. To truly grasp the scale and flow of India's pharmaceutical distribution network, it is helpful to think of it not as a rigid, linear process, but as a great and powerful river system. This analogy captures the dynamic and branching nature of the journey that medicines undertake. The process begins at a single, powerful source, akin to a mountain spring where a river is born. This source is the manufacturing plant, the place where raw materials are transformed into finished medical products. Here, in these highly regulated environments, tablets, capsules, and injectables are produced, meticulously tested for quality and safety, and then carefully packaged for their long journey ahead, each marked with a unique batch number that serves as its official birth certificate. From this primary source, the river of medicine does not flow directly to its final destination. Instead, it first pours into large reservoirs. In our supply chain analogy, these reservoirs are the carrying and forwarding, or C&F agents. These are vast, strategically located depots, typically situated at the state level. Pharmaceutical companies do not deliver their products to every individual chemist shop. Such a task would be logistically impossible. Instead, they entrust large quantities of their stock to these C&F agents. It is crucial to understand that the C&F agent does not own the medicines. Their role is purely custodial. They are the gatekeepers of the reservoir, responsible for storing the stock securely and forwarding it downstream as per the company's instructions. The next stage of the journey sees the Great River branching into smaller but still significant canals. These are the distributors. Unlike the C&F agents, distributors purchase the stock from the pharmaceutical company, taking ownership of the goods. They operate over large territories, often covering several districts or a major part of a state. They are the primary arteries of the distribution system, forming the essential spine of the entire supply chain. Their function is to break down the bulk shipments received from the C&F agents into smaller, more manageable quantities, preparing the medicines for the next, more localized phase of their distribution. Their business is built on volume, reach, and efficient inventory management. Finally, the canals split into countless smaller streams and channels, the wholesalers or stockists. These are the foot soldiers of the pharmaceutical supply chain, the entities responsible for last-mile connectivity. Operating at a local level, they serve as the direct link to the final points of dispensation. A single stockist might be responsible for supplying hundreds of retail chemists, local clinics, and small nursing homes within their designated area. They manage daily or even twice-daily deliveries, ensuring that shelves are never empty and that essential medicines are always within reach of the communities they serve. It is this intricate, multi-layered flow, from the source to the reservoir, through canals and streams, that ensures the river of medicine ultimately reaches every tap. The final destination in this elaborate journey is, of course, the patient. The point at which the medicine finally meets the person who needs it is the tap in our river analogy. These taps are numerous and varied, representing the final interface between the complex supply chain and the end consumer. They are the more than 800,000 retail chemist shops that dot the urban and rural landscapes of India, from bustling city high streets to quiet village markets. They are also the silent, sterile corridors of hospital pharmacies, dispensing critical treatments within moments of a doctor's prescription. It is here, at this final touchpoint, that the entire multi-billion-dollar logistical exercise finds its ultimate purpose and justification: the alleviation of suffering and the preservation of life. This journey, from a factory in Badi to a pharmacy in Madurai, is not just a geographical challenge, but a testament to a highly organized system. Each layer of the chain, the manufacturer, the C&F agent, the distributor, the stockist, and the retailer, plays a distinct and indispensable role. The manufacturer ensures quality and production scale. The C&F agent provides centralized, secure storage. The distributor breaks bulk and manages regional logistics. The stockist ensures hyper-local availability and rapid replenishment. Finally, the chemist or hospital pharmacist provides the professional interface, dispensing the right medicine with the right advice. The seamless coordination between these 5 distinct entities is what makes the entire system work, day in and day out. Understanding this layered structure is fundamental for any MBA student aiming for a leadership role in the pharmaceutical sector. It is a classic model of multi-echelon inventory management, but with the added complexities of regulatory oversight, diverse market dynamics, and the non-negotiable imperative of product integrity. The efficiency of this chain is measured not just in profit margins or inventory turnover, but in lives saved and public health crises averted. A delay at any stage can have cascading effects, leading to stockouts of essential drugs, compromising patient care, and potentially eroding public trust in both the brand and the healthcare system at large. Therefore, mastering the intricacies of this anatomy is the first step towards effective strategic management. As we proceed, we will dissect each of these layers in greater detail. We will explore the business models that underpin their operations, the power dynamics that govern their relationships, and the unique challenges they face. We will move beyond the simple flow of goods to analyze the flow of information and the flow of money, which are equally critical to the health of the supply chain. This foundational knowledge will set the stage for understanding more advanced concepts, such as the critical role of the cold chain, the impact of digital transformation, and the strategic responses required to manage disruptions, like the one experienced during the COVID-19 pandemic. The journey from Badi to Madurai is the story of modern India's healthcare logistics in action. The entire pharmaceutical supply chain originates from a single, highly controlled point, the manufacturing plant. This is the source of our river of medicine, the place where scientific innovation is transformed into tangible, life-saving products. These facilities, whether they are sprawling megafactories operated by industry giants like Sun Pharma and Dr. Reddy's in hubs such as Badi or Hyderabad, or smaller specialized units focusing on niche formulations, are the epicenters of production. They represent the pinnacle of pharmaceutical engineering, operating under stringent national and international quality standards, such as Good Manufacturing Practices or GMP. Here, the complex processes of synthesis, formulation and finishing are carried out with meticulous precision to ensure every single product meets its specified efficacy and safety profile. Inside these plants, a symphony of advanced machinery and skilled human oversight works in unison. Active pharmaceutical ingredients, or APIs, the core components of any drug, are carefully blended with excipients to create the final dosage form. This could be a tablet compressed with immense force, a capsule filled with precise powder measurements, or a sterile liquid sealed in a glass vial. Each step is rigorously monitored and documented. The environment itself is controlled for temperature, humidity, and particulate matter to prevent any contamination. This initial stage is arguably the most critical, as any deviation in quality here can have severe consequences for the patient at the end of the chain, rendering the entire logistical effort not just useless, but potentially harmful. Once manufactured, the products undergo a final crucial phase before they are released for distribution, packaging, and quality assurance. The packaging is not merely a container. It is an integral part of the product, designed to protect it from light, moisture, and physical damage throughout its journey. Each box, strip, or bottle is then indelibly marked with vital information. This includes the brand name, dosage, manufacturing date, expiry date, and most importantly, a unique batch number. This batch number acts as the medicine's birth certificate, a critical piece of data that allows for complete traceability. Should a quality issue ever be detected, this number enables the company to recall the specific batch from every point in the supply chain swiftly and efficiently. The release of a batch from the factory is a significant event, governed by strict protocols. The Quality Assurance or QA department conducts final checks, reviewing all production and testing records to certify that the batch conforms to all regulatory requirements. Only after this final approval is the stock moved from the production area to the factory's dispatch warehouse, ready to begin its journey into the wider world. This moment marks the transition of the product from a manufacturing asset to a logistical unit. The source has fulfilled its purpose, and the river of medicine is now ready to begin its flow, entering the first major channel of the vast and complex distribution network that lies ahead. Once the medicine leaves the factory gates, it does not travel directly to the thousands of pharmacies across the country. The sheer scale and complexity would make such a model unmanageable and, honestly, prohibitively expensive for any single manufacturer. Instead, the first major destination is the carrying and forwarding, or C&F agent. In our river analogy, these are the vast reservoirs. A C&F agent is essentially a third-party logistics partner who operates massive state-level depots on behalf of the pharmaceutical company. These depots are strategically located, often near major transport hubs, to serve an entire state or a large region. Their primary function is to receive and store enormous quantities of stock directly from multiple manufacturing plants. A critical distinction for any MBA student to understand is the nature of the C&F agent's role. They are custodians, not owners of the stock. The inventory within their warehouses remains the property of the pharmaceutical company. The C&F agent's business model is based on service fees, typically a percentage of the turnover they handle. Their responsibilities are purely operational, secure warehousing, maintaining proper storage conditions, including cold chain facilities where required, managing inventory records, and executing dispatch orders as instructed by the manufacturer. They act as the company's arms and legs on the ground, providing a crucial buffer that allows for centralized inventory management at a regional level, thereby optimizing stock levels and reducing transportation costs. From these large reservoirs, the medicine flows into the main canals of the distribution system, the distributors. This is where the first change of ownership occurs. Distributors are independent business entities that purchase the stock directly from the pharmaceutical company, with the goods being dispatched from the C&F Agents depot. By buying the inventory, they take on the associated financial risks, including storage, transit, and market demand. A distributor typically covers a significant geographical area, such as several districts or a major urban agglomeration. They are the primary customers of the pharmaceutical company and form the backbone of the sales channel, breaking down the massive truckload quantities into smaller, more manageable consignments suitable for the next layer of the chain. The relationship between the manufacturer and the distributor is a strategic one, built on commercial terms that include pricing, credit periods, and sales targets. The distributor's margin, typically around 8 to 10%, incentivizes them to push the company's products effectively within their territory. They are not merely logistical players, they are active sales partners. Their role is to ensure deep market penetration and consistent product availability across their designated region. They invest in their own smaller warehouses, a fleet of delivery vehicles, and a sales team to service the next link in the chain. These distributors are powerful entities, forming the essential spine that connects the manufacturer's national strategy to the local realities of the market. As the river of medicine continues its journey, the broad canals managed by distributors branch out into a dense network of smaller streams and tributaries. These are the stockists, also known as wholesalers. They represent the penultimate step in the supply chain, operating at a hyper-local level. A stockist purchases goods from one or more distributors and services a specific smaller territory, such as a part of a city or a group of nearby towns and villages. They are the foot soldiers of pharmaceutical distribution, responsible for ensuring that medicine is available in close proximity to the final point of sale. Their operational focus is on frequency and responsiveness, catering to the immediate needs of their local customer base. The stockist's business model is built on providing rapid, reliable service to a large number of retail outlets. A single stockist might supply several hundred retail chemists, small clinics, and local nursing homes. They maintain a wide range of products from various companies, acting as a one-stop shop for the retailers in their area. Unlike the large-volume, planned dispatches of distributors, the stockists' operations are characterized by small, frequent deliveries, often made daily or even twice a day. This allows retailers to maintain lean inventories, freeing up their capital and reducing the risk of holding expired stock. The stockist is the engine of just-in-time delivery at the grassroots level, ensuring the constant replenishment of medicines on pharmacy shelves. The journey concludes at the final tap, the retail chemist and the hospital pharmacy. This is the most visible part of the supply chain and the critical point where the medicine finally reaches the patient. India has a vast network of over 800,000 retail pharmacies, ranging from large modern chains in metropolitan areas to small single-owner shops in remote villages. These retailers purchase their supplies from stockists, relying on them for timely deliveries to meet the daily demands of prescriptions. Alongside them are the hospital pharmacies, which procure medicines to serve their inpatients and outpatient departments, ensuring that treatments can be administered without any delay. This final transaction is where the entire system's purpose is fulfilled. For the MBA student, it is vital to recognize that this final mile is not just a point of sale, but a crucial information hub. The retailer is the direct interface with the end consumer and the prescribing doctor. They possess invaluable real-time data on prescribing patterns, product movement, and emerging demand for specific drugs. This information, when channeled back up the supply chain, can inform production planning, marketing strategies, and inventory management at the distributor and manufacturer levels. Therefore, the anatomy of the supply chain is not just a downstream flow of goods. It is a complete ecosystem with an essential upstream flow of data and market intelligence, connecting the patient's need directly back to the source. The pharmaceutical supply chain is not merely a physical network for moving goods. It is a complex economic ecosystem governed by intricate financial relationships. The distributors and stockists who form its backbone are far more than simple middlemen. They are strategic business partners whose decisions and financial health directly impact a pharmaceutical company's success. Their operations are driven by two primary financial levers: margins and credit terms. The margin is the percentage of the product's price that each player earns. For a distributor, this typically ranges from 8 to 10%, while a retail chemist commands a higher margin, usually between 16 and 20%. These margins are the lifeblood of their business, covering operational costs and generating profit. Beyond the fixed margins, the concept of credit is a powerful tool in this ecosystem. Pharmaceutical companies often provide their products to distributors on credit, allowing them a period, perhaps 30 to 60 days, to sell the stock before payment is due. This practice is then cascaded down the chain, with distributors offering credit to stockists and stockists to retailers. The length and terms of this credit can be a significant point of negotiation and a key competitive differentiator. A company offering more favorable credit terms may find its products being pushed more aggressively by channel partners, as it eases their working capital burden. For an MBA student, this is a classic example of channel financing influencing sales velocity and market share. The flow of money is as critical as the flow of medicine. Delays in payment at one level can create a liquidity crunch that ripples throughout the entire system, affecting the ability of stockists and distributors to place new orders. This financial interdependence makes the relationship between a manufacturer and its channel partners a delicate balancing act. Companies must constantly monitor the financial health of their distributors, managing credit risk while providing enough support to ensure the channel remains motivated and fluid. The most successful pharmaceutical firms are those that view their distributors not just as customers, but as extensions of their own enterprise, fostering long-term, mutually profitable relationships. Furthermore, these channel partners act as the company's eyes and ears on the ground. They possess invaluable market intelligence regarding competitor activities, local prescribing habits, and emerging sales trends. They decide which products to stock in greater quantities and which ones to recommend to retailers when a doctor's prescription is for a generic molecule rather than a specific brand. Their influence is subtle but profound. They are not passive conduits. They are active gatekeepers and power brokers. Understanding their economic drivers and motivations is therefore not just a matter of financial management, but a core component of strategic marketing and sales management in the pharmaceutical industry. In the complex web of business and power within the Indian pharma supply chain, one organization wields an influence that is, honestly, just unparalleled. This is the All India Organization of Chemists and Druggists, or AIOCD, representing the collective interests of over 8 lakh distributors, stockists, and retail chemists across the nation. The AIOCD is definitely one of the most powerful trade bodies in the country. Its strength doesn't come from any regulatory authority, but from the sheer, undeniable power of unity. When this organization speaks, pharmaceutical companies are compelled to listen, because the AIOCD has the ability to impact the entire distribution network, from the largest cities to the smallest towns. The primary focus of the AIOCD is to protect the commercial interests of its members. This often involves some pretty intense negotiations with pharmaceutical manufacturers over trade margins. If the organization feels that the margins offered on a new product, or even on an existing portfolio, are insufficient to ensure the viability of its members' businesses, it will not hesitate to take action. This power is most potently demonstrated through its ability to call for boycotts. The AIOCD has, on several occasions throughout its history, effectively shut down the sales of specific companies by directing its members to stop purchasing or selling their products. Such actions can be financially crippling for a manufacturer, bringing their entire supply chain to a grinding halt. This collective bargaining power extends well beyond just margins. The AIOCD also plays a significant role in shaping company policies related to the appointment of new stockists and the terms of trade. They often resist the direct entry of companies into the distribution space or the establishment of new competing channels that might dilute the business of existing members. For a pharmaceutical company, navigating the relationship with the AIOCD is a critical strategic challenge. An adversarial approach can lead to protracted disputes and significant loss of revenue. Consequently, most companies maintain dedicated teams to liaise with the AIOCD, engaging in continuous dialogue to preempt conflicts and find mutually agreeable solutions. For Pharma MBA students, the AIOCD serves as a powerful case study in stakeholder management and the dynamics of channel power. It really demonstrates that in a fragmented market with millions of small players, collective action can create a formidable counterweight to the power of large corporations. The organization's influence underscores the reality that the pharmaceutical supply chain is not just a set of logistical processes, but a social and political system. Leaders in this industry must possess not only business acumen, but also the diplomatic skills required to manage this powerful and essential stakeholder. Recognizing that true partnership, not conflict, is the key to ensuring the uninterrupted flow of medicine to the people who need it. While the majority of medicines can be transported and stored at ambient temperatures, a crucial and, honestly, growing category of products demands a far more rigorous and controlled environment. These are temperature-sensitive pharmaceuticals such as vaccines, insulin, biologics, and certain cancer drugs. For these products, exposure to temperatures outside a narrow prescribed range, typically between 2 and 8 degrees Celsius, can irrevocably damage their molecular structure. This renders them not just ineffective, but potentially dangerous. A broken link in this specialized supply chain doesn't simply mean a delay, it means the medicine effectively dies. This is the non-negotiable world of the cold chain, a supply chain within a supply chain. The cold chain is an unbroken series of refrigerated storage and transport links, designed to maintain the required temperature from the moment a product leaves the factory until it is administered to a patient. The journey begins in factory cold rooms, large-scale refrigerated spaces where the products are held post-manufacturing. From there, they are loaded into reefer trucks, which are essentially large mobile refrigerators, for transit to the carrying and forwarding agents' depots. These depots have dedicated cold warehouse facilities to maintain the temperature during storage. The chain continues with smaller refrigerated vans for distribution to stockists, who in turn must have their own cold storage cabinets. The final mile often involves insulated boxes packed with frozen gel packs for delivery to the pharmacy. At every single stage of this journey, the temperature must be meticulously monitored and recorded. Modern cold chain logistics relies heavily on technology to ensure this integrity. Temperature data loggers are placed inside shipments to provide a continuous record of the conditions during transit. Any deviation or temperature excursion outside the acceptable range triggers an alarm and can lead to the entire shipment being quarantined and potentially discarded. This unwavering focus on quality assurance is paramount because, unlike a damaged box, a temperature-compromised vaccine often shows no visible signs of spoilage. The risk to patient safety is invisible, making rigorous process adherence the only acceptable standard. India's success with its universal immunization program and more recently the massive COVID-19 vaccination drive is a testament to the country's ability to manage this complex logistical challenge on a monumental scale. A key innovation has been the Electronic Vaccine Intelligence Network, or eVIN, a digital platform that enables real-time tracking of vaccine stocks and storage temperatures at thousands of cold chain points across the country. This system has dramatically improved efficiency and reduced wastage. For any future leader in the pharmaceutical industry, understanding the science, technology, and operational discipline of cold chain management is essential, as the future of medicine increasingly lies in these sophisticated, temperature-sensitive biologic therapies. The onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020 triggered an unprecedented national lockdown, a necessary public health measure that inadvertently subjected India's pharmaceutical supply chain to its most severe stress test in modern history. Overnight, The meticulously organized flow of the river of medicine was frozen solid. The core problem was not a shortage of drugs. Factories were still operational, producing essential medicines at full capacity. The crisis was purely logistical. The sudden and complete restriction on movement meant that trucks carrying finished goods were stranded at state borders, unable to proceed. The arteries of the supply chain were blocked, creating a critical disconnect between the source and the patient. The initial days of the lockdown were marked by confusion and paralysis. Local law enforcement, tasked with enforcing the strict containment measures, often failed to distinguish between essential and non-essential transport. Pharmaceutical delivery vans were stopped, drivers were questioned, and warehouses were unable to dispatch or receive goods. This disruption had an immediate and alarming effect. Pharmacy shelves in many parts of the country began to empty, particularly for chronic care medications for conditions like diabetes and hypertension. Patients grew anxious as their regular supply was threatened. The Lifeline, which had always operated seamlessly in the background, had suddenly become fragile and frayed, highlighting its critical importance to the nation's well-being. Recognizing the imminent public health crisis, the government and pharmaceutical industry bodies scrambled to find a solution. This period saw an extraordinary level of collaboration between public and private sectors. A central control room was established, operating around the clock to address logistical bottlenecks. Special e-passes were rapidly designed and issued for personnel and vehicles involved in the pharmaceutical supply chain, granting them permission to travel unhindered. The concept of green corridors was implemented, designating specific routes for the priority movement of medical supplies. This swift, coordinated response was crucial in beginning to thaw the frozen channels and restore some semblance of normalcy to the distribution network. For Pharma MBA students, this episode offers a profound lesson in crisis management and the importance of supply chain resilience. It exposed the system's vulnerability to large-scale, unforeseen disruptions. The assumption of free movement, a given in all standard logistical models, was suddenly proven false. The crisis forced companies to re-evaluate their distribution strategies, emphasizing the need for contingency planning, better communication protocols with authorities, and the development of more agile and adaptable logistics networks. The Great Lockdown demonstrated that even the most efficient supply chain is only as strong as its ability to navigate external shocks and maintain its flow under extreme duress. As lockdowns eased, a deeper crisis hit. India's dependence on China for active pharmaceutical ingredients was exposed when Chinese factories shut down. Indian pharma plants stood idle, lacking the raw materials for essential drugs. The vulnerability was clear. The government responded with the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative and a production-linked incentive scheme to boost domestic API manufacturing. But as the second COVID wave struck, demand for drugs like remdesivir soared, leading to hoarding, black marketing, and a surge in dangerous counterfeit medicines. Desperate families paid exorbitant prices, sometimes for fake drugs, highlighting ethical and regulatory failures. Authorities cracked down on black market networks, but the damage was done. For future pharma leaders, this is a stark lesson. Ethical, transparent supply chains are a moral imperative, not just a business goal. Robust track and trace systems and strong governance are essential to protect patients and restore trust. Amid crisis, India launched one of the world's largest vaccination drives, an unprecedented logistical feat. The co-win digital platform became the backbone, managing registration, scheduling, and real-time tracking of vaccine stocks and coverage. Data-driven allocation minimized shortages and wastage, while drones and innovative last-mile solutions reached remote areas. Public-private partnerships accelerated the rollout, leveraging both government and private sector strengths. Over 1 billion people were vaccinated, proving the power of collaboration, technology, and adaptability. The drive stands as a global case study in project management and supply chain execution. For MBA students, it's a lesson in digital transformation, public-private synergy, and operational excellence. India's pharmaceutical lifeline, tested by crisis, emerged stronger and more innovative. The vaccination drive redefined what's possible in healthcare logistics. E-pharmacies like Pharmacy and Tata 1 mg are transforming medicine distribution in India. By centralizing inventory and leveraging technology, they deliver medicines directly to patients, often within hours. This model offers convenience, better stock management, and valuable data for forecasting and analytics. However, it raises regulatory concerns: prescription authenticity, drug misuse, and the impact on local chemists. The government is crafting new rules to balance innovation with safety and fair competition. The future likely lies in a hybrid model: e-pharmacies for chronic care and reach, local chemists for immediate needs and personal advice. For business students, this is a live case of channel disruption and business model innovation. The pharmaceutical landscape is evolving, diverse, resilient, and increasingly digital. To combat counterfeit drugs, India is rolling out a nationwide track and trace system. Every medicine pack will carry a unique QR code, enabling digital verification at every step from factory to pharmacy. Consumers can scan codes to confirm authenticity, origin, and expiry, empowering patient safety. Manufacturers, distributors, and chemists must upgrade systems and processes, but the payoff is huge: safer supply chains and faster recalls. This transparency will professionalize the industry, making data-driven decisions standard. For future managers, track and trace is a game changer, offering end-to-end visibility and trust. It's not just compliance, it's a strategic advantage for India's pharma sector. The new era of transparency will boost confidence at home and abroad. Drones are breaking barriers in healthcare logistics, reaching places conventional transport can't. From Himalayan villages to flood-hit regions, drones deliver medicines, vaccines, and samples in minutes, not days. Pilot projects during COVID-19 proved their value, especially for temperature-sensitive deliveries. Drones can also enable reverse logistics, swiftly moving diagnostic samples to labs for faster results. Scaling up requires new regulations and robust air traffic management, but momentum is strong. For MBA students, drones represent the frontier of supply chain innovation, where technology meets public health. As the technology matures, drones will become vital to India's healthcare infrastructure. The promise: no citizen left behind, no matter how remote. The Indian pharmaceutical supply chain is a vast, intricate system serving over 1 billion people across diverse geographies. It's more than logistics, it's a dynamic ecosystem shaped by business, power, and human relationships. The pandemic exposed vulnerabilities, dependency on imports, ethical lapses, and logistical bottlenecks, but also revealed extraordinary resilience. The sector adapted rapidly, boosting domestic API production, deploying digital platforms, and innovating in delivery. The cold chain's precision and the fight against counterfeits underscore the industry's immense responsibility. For future leaders, the lesson is clear: quality, integrity, and adaptability are non-negotiable. The supply chain's true strength lies in its ability to bend, not break, and to keep delivering hope. India's pharmaceutical lifeline endures, resilient, responsible, and ever-evolving. As we look towards the horizon, it is clear that the future of India's pharmaceutical supply chain will be defined by transformation. The forces of digitalization, technological innovation, and evolving patient expectations are creating both immense opportunities and significant challenges. The rise of e-pharmacies is fundamentally altering the path to the consumer, offering convenience and efficiency while challenging traditional business models. The government's mandate for a comprehensive track and trace system promises to eradicate counterfeits and bring unprecedented transparency. But it also demands significant investment and adaptation from every player in the chain. Navigating this period of profound change will require a new generation of leaders. These future leaders, the Pharma MBA students of today, must be equipped with a unique and diverse skill set. They must possess a deep understanding of core supply chain principles, inventory management, logistics, and network design. However, this technical knowledge must be augmented with strategic foresight. They will need to be adept at managing technological disruption, capable of harnessing the power of data analytics to drive decisions, and skilled in forging public-private partnerships to solve complex challenges. The leadership required is not just about optimizing for cost, but about building for resilience, agility, and patient centricity in an increasingly complex world. The closing challenge presented earlier, a hypothetical flood in Bihar cutting off a critical depot, encapsulates the real-world pressures these leaders will face. The right answer involves more than just logistics. It demands calm, decisive action under pressure. The first calls would likely be to the State Disaster Management Authority for coordinated aid, to a logistics partner to explore airlifting options, and to the regional sales head to manage local chemist panic. Alternative routes might involve airdropping supplies to accessible points and using smaller, more nimble vehicles or even drones for the final mile. The long-term change would be to build supply chain redundancy, perhaps by establishing a secondary smaller depot in a less flood-prone area. Ultimately, leadership in this sector is about making critical decisions when every hour matters. It involves balancing immediate needs with long-term strategy and understanding that the ultimate key performance indicator is a life saved. The future of the Indian pharmaceutical supply chain rests in the hands of leaders who can think systemically, act decisively, and innovate continuously. They must be prepared to manage not just the flow of goods, but the flow of information, the management of risk, and the stewardship of a system that is, in the truest sense of the word, a national lifeline. The challenge is immense, but the opportunity to make a difference is even greater. In closing, if we were to write a final prescription for the continued health and evolution of India's pharmaceutical supply chain, it would contain two primary ingredients: a commitment to continuous innovation and an unwavering foundation of ethical governance. These two elements are deeply intertwined and mutually reinforcing. Innovation without ethics can lead to technologies that are misused, while ethics without innovation can lead to stagnation in a world that demands constant improvement. The future success of this vital lifeline depends on achieving a harmonious balance between the two, ensuring that progress serves the ultimate goal of public health. The commitment to continuous innovation must be relentless. We have seen the transformative potential of technologies like the eVIN platform, the eVIN network, and drone deliveries. The journey must not stop here. Future leaders must champion investment in artificial intelligence for demand forecasting, blockchain for enhanced supply chain security, and automation in warehouses to improve speed and accuracy. The focus should be on creating an intelligent, connected, and predictive supply chain that is not just reactive to crises, but can anticipate and mitigate them. This means fostering a culture of experimentation and being willing to adopt new solutions that make the system more efficient, transparent, and resilient. Simultaneously, this pursuit of innovation must be anchored by a strong framework of ethical governance. The crises of black marketing and counterfeit drugs during the pandemic were stark reminders of what happens when ethics are compromised. A pharmaceutical leader's responsibility extends beyond the company's balance sheet. It includes a profound duty to the patient. This means implementing robust quality control at every stage, ensuring data privacy in digital platforms, and maintaining absolute transparency with regulators and consumers. It means building a corporate culture where cutting corners is unacceptable and patient safety is the supreme priority, a culture that is upheld from the boardroom to the delivery van. The story of the Indian pharmaceutical supply chain is a narrative of silent heroes and complex systems, a story of resilience and responsibility. It is a lifeline that has sustained a nation through its darkest hours and has the potential to become a global benchmark for excellence. For the next generation of leaders, the task is clear: to take this incredible legacy and build upon it. The prescription is to innovate with purpose, to govern with integrity, and to never forget that at the end of every supply chain, there is a person whose health and hope depend on its flawless execution. This is the challenge and the privilege of a career in pharmaceutical management.